A gang problem may be nothing new to the Houston area, but you may not realize just how serious the problem is. Good evening, everyone. I'm Melinda Spalding.
And I'm Mike Barajas. Now HPD has a brand new weapon that has already resulted in some arrests. Fox 26's Patty Shea spoke with one lieutenant who's on the front lines. Patty?
Well, Mike and Melinda, I want you to take a look at this number, 225. That's how many different documented gangs are on the streets of Houston. Their total numbers are estimated at 10,000, but the reality is the true numbers are difficult to figure out. And according to the National Gang Threat Assessment Group, the Bayou City is now home to more gang members than anywhere else in Texas. The Houston Police Department agrees, but points out we're also the largest city. But you may be surprised to learn that gangs, well, they've changed the way they do business, and where they carry it out could affect you.
I would say that they're very organized. They're more organized than what people want to give them credit for. They're a lot smarter. They're very chameleon-like. In some gangs, there's no more blood in, blood out. They'll let people come in and join the gang, and if you choose not to be a gang member anymore for whatever reason, you could probably get out. They all work together, for one thing, and they could be any race. They can operate in any area uptown. It doesn't matter if you're in the suburbs or if you're in the inner city. A lot of people don't realize that. The suburban areas are more affluent. That's where the money is. I'm not saying there's not money in the city of Houston, and people tend to be less on guard in the suburbs. You go out in the suburbs and you let your guard down. You say, well, I made it. I'm living the American dream. I don't have to worry about the crime that's in the city of Houston. Well, you do, because it's there.
Now, the Houston Police Department is part of a multi-agency task force battling gangs, and they came up with a pretty unique website that can really help you. StopHoustonGangs.org. People
would just click on it, and they can learn a lot about the gangs and the tattoos, the clothing, the methods of operations, the crimes that they commit, the areas that they're working in, and people can educate themselves on what to look for. Since the inception on September 23rd of this year, we've had close to 28,000 hits on the website, we've generated numerous clues. We've probably generated 8-10 arrests just from the information that we've gotten.
And the success of this website is attracting attention from other law enforcement agencies. At least 6 have already approached HPD for help in setting up their own anti-gang website. Live in the studio, I'm Patty Shea.
In the fight against gangs, law enforcement cannot do it alone. They need your help. Patricia Harrington is with the City of Houston's Anti-Gang Office. Patricia, I know that your office focuses on 3 things: prevention, intervention, and suppression. But before we get started, however, gangs, how pervasive are they in Houston, and how dangerous are they? Are we talking about simply thugs, or are we talking about killers affiliated in some cases with drug cartels or prison gangs?
Well, I believe we're talking about both. There are more violent gangs, transnational gangs. They are involved in human trafficking, drug trafficking, and so on. But the criminal street gangs, juvenile criminal street gangs, are the gangs that really cause most quality of life issues for residents here in our city.
Well, I grew up here in Houston. I grew up in 2nd Ward in Houston's East End. Gangs in that part of the city have always been a part of the community. How do you battle them, and how do you keep them in check?
Well, what we do in the Mayor's Anti-Gang Office, and really what we promote for the city, is a prevention, intervention, and enforcement strategy. So prevention is all the education and awareness that would teach children and youth the dangers and consequences of gang involvement so that they don't make that choice to go into the gang lifestyle. The intervention services are also important because they help kids who have realized that they've made a bad choice, but they're not really quite sure what they need to do to resist the gang or stay out of it.
Well, I've seen covering news in this city for many, many years. I have seen people intimidated by gangs. They witness a drive-by shooting and don't want to get involved for fear of putting their families in danger for retaliation. What assurance can you give them that they should report gang activity?
Well, I think, you can't just say for gang activity, but any criminal activity that's going on in the city of Houston or anywhere should be reported to law enforcement. That's the way that we're going to control it, that's the way we're going to stop it, and that's the best way to address it. So I think it's just very important for the community. StopHoustonGangs.org website is a wonderful way to do it. You can also utilize Crime Stoppers if you want to give an anonymous tip. Those are excellent outlets for folks that are somewhat nervous about retaliation.
That's great information. Patricia Harrington with the city's anti-gang office. Continued success in the never-ending battle against gangs.
Thank you so much.